Going.
No, are we on?
Yep. You're pretty big.
Oh, good. Goodness, that's scary. We have to leave. We'll call to order our January meeting for the Newburg 2 School Board. If you will join us in the salute to our flag, please. Pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It was.
Everyone's here except for Mrs. Wells. Thank you, everybody's here, Mrs. Wells. Mrs. Wells absent. She'll be absent all the evening, so. Okay, she's not coming. I think she's on her way home, so she may be at the airport. So she's probably in trouble.
Shock right
She
now.
may even need to
That's a heck of a
change.
change.
Okay, we do have a quorum. We have 6 members. The approval of the agenda.
Motion.
Mr. Birdsong. Second, Mr. Thompson. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries 6-0. We have no comment. Have signed up. Ready for our consent agenda. We have 2 items that would be the minutes from the last meeting in December and the monthly financial statement.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion, Mr. Birdsong. Thank you, Mr. Thompson. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Carries 5, 1 abstention. Mr. Birdsong, Mr. Brookshire, he wasn't here last year. Wasn't here last year.
For the same time.
I guess it's kind of true that year.
It's the whole year. You spend all your time in office.
Approve of the bills. So you got most of them on Friday. And then you got a new copy today. The new copy today includes the ones from Friday. So whatever additions there, you may have to look it through and see what those additions were. Am I saying that correctly?
Yeah.
Okay. There's like 5 or 6 of them.
And then you also, I'm starting to put the beginning of month bills, which is the 2 utility bills in there as well, because I'm not sure. if we
It's in its
do it or
own
not.
folder
BOM for beginning of month.
for the
Okay.
beginning of the
That
month.
one.
That BOM would be,
Mhm.
maybe 2 checks in there.
Yeah.
City of Newburg, Steffi Trash.
Mhm.
Okay. Those have early dates on them. That's why those are there. So then the last one that's there would be
27.50.
We named it, renamed it updated board.
updated.
That way you know that has the whole complete.
Water and sewer is 450, so we had 3203. I don't want to make a motion until I know Tony's ready.
Oh, I got a couple questions.
I didn't see a copier one on there this time. Did I miss it?
There is a
There is
copy
2 of
here.
them,
There is.
the same amount.
It's split between the 2 buildings.
Okay, I figured. I mean, I'm gonna ask a dumb question here. Can you tell me what a turbo actuator is? Because that sounds like something that come from the Jetsons, and I'm not sure what that.
Probably one of the buses, actually.
It is for one of the buses, and I believe it's getting returned because it shipped and never got it.
Okay,
So it's,
Well.
I've already gotten the return notice from Amazon.
on this Detronics, I assume that is the controller for the baseball field that we were struggling with this year.
We're gonna double check on that, but yes, that's what I believe it is too, but I thought we ordered it earlier in the year. I actually
I
noted
did
that.
too.
Yeah, so I actually noted that
We
with
did.
Rebecca today, and I said, let's check on that with John tomorrow
Okay.
and see, because I thought we already purchased, so now I'm kind of wondering why it's on there
I
again.
think it took a long time to get it, so I don't know.
So maybe we canceled
Maybe
that
we
in
never
Newburgh
got
or
it.
something.
Yeah, it may not have ever
Never
came
got
into.
it.
That would not surprise me.
Okay, so we
Yeah.
kind of have that as we got to figure out why that's on there again.
You may or may not want to give me the answer on this one.
Maybe so. Okay,
I don't remember it being on there, Tracy.
so I just might remember it coming to.
Right.
Yeah, and then
That-
not
that-
billed.
That you would.
Right,
Yeah.
that's
That you
probably
would've
what it
remembered.
just popped up to my.
I just don't think,
Oh, I've seen
don't
that.
really remember seeing.
I don't
it.
remember seeing
But you
one
all don't remember
earlier.
seeing
I don't recall
Remember
either.
next
Then that makes
Being
good
on-
sense
bet
that
you
the
it's just now-
library was requested and it finally got here, so, okay.
Fine to check on it though.
Propane.
I had the same question. For propane,
That seemed like a
seems like a lot.
I don't know what.
So last year in December, we did not, it was a much warmer month,
Yeah.
and we did not even hit half of that. But we're gonna double check on the bid for Pose as well. I believe it was a higher amount than our bid for last year.
Well, let's double check on those thermostats, make sure they're not sitting at 85 degrees.
Right.
They're probably high.
Another difference that you'll see is that previously, we have been paying on the slips whenever they come and fill it up each time. But I have changed that to paying per invoice instead. So I'm not paying until we officially get billed for it. So that,
And that's okay.
yeah, the
Yeah.
amounts will look a little bit
Way.
larger
That's why you need to
because
do
I'm
it.
doing multiples on one.
Yeah.
You should always pay for an
Because
invoice or
that
statement.
could, so what you paid could be a couple of fills maybe. Yeah, okay.
That's still for the month.
And I
This
do have the tickets
11,000
if
is
anyone
free
wants to
fills.
look at.
Well, I mean,
No, but
It didn't make sense to me.
well, just look, we brought that up, just make sure we're looking. This,
We go back to
I assume, I don't want to assume anything.
it.
This item for, it looks like a sub teacher, who is a sub teacher now, that used to teach here, this Kristen Gillette. Item,
She's our.
Kristen Gillette's a
OT,
PT. She's our PT,
Yeah.
so it's just
She's
a
our-
payment.
Physical therapy.
Yeah.
okay, so that's normal,
Mhm.
okay. Just don't
Yeah,
remember seeing
you'll see
anything like
the-
that before.
You may
Yes,
not have yet. Tony, didn't- Yeah.
Yeah.
We did pay her last month.
We paid her last month. You missed it.
Okay,
He was probably thinking about that tropical vacation coming up.
Yeah.
about ready to book another one, thanks for reminding me. Thanks for reminding me.
I don't blame you, buddy, for right now.
Cold.
Yeah, and I didn't get a
But the
chance to look at
electric is
the
down from what it
updated one.
was last year, a lot, like that. I don't know
Yeah,
where,
$2,000 difference.
so,
On the propane?
no,
The
the
electric.
electric's way down, the propane's way up, so it's like,
I think the propane is from, I don't think they delivered much this year.
Filled some tanks, so maybe I'll put it
it is for the. cold.
Well, maybe they should have come at the end of November and actually waited an extra week. It didn't come to the 1st of December. I mean,
Yeah,
I
right.
get it.
I
It
do
means to go
know
look
that
at my
Carl,
propane for 3 days because I haven't got any myself. I might be about out by the time I get home. All right, I'm good on
Ready to
that.
be out.
oh my God.
Ocean?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, Mr. Shear, motion to accept the bills or pay the bills. Mr. Thompson, a second.
I would.
Any further discussion? And I'm gonna proceed to vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries 6-0. Administration reports to principals. Right, you want to go first?
Yeah.
Mr. Dunn went first last time. He was the only one here.
Not throw you under the bus. for
Actually, I don't
being
think either
ill
one.
or
That's
anything.
Actually,
About to say,
last time neither one. Oh,
Yeah. That is true.
Time before,
That's true. That's true.
Miss Wright only comes every once in a while.
It's got a report every 3 months.
She comes every 3 months. Legit.
I'm like, who is our elementary teacher? Our principal?
You don't even know what
This
to
is
do.
Mrs. Wright. Should we
I know what her job is.
Hey, I even ran down the hall to
I heard that. quick.
Even ran to get here, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
not many would do that for this kind of abuse.
It was more than I set off the alarm than to get here.
Yeah. Okay. Building updates. I don't have a whole lot, it's kind of slim here, but my K teachers are beginning our new reading program, Wonders. We got that purchased let's see, when did we purchase that? November, I think, October, November. I think it was November. Gave them time to look over it. They wanted to take it home with them over Christmas break. Our TNTP reading coaches have been working with them too, so they are feeling confident to get that going. So I'm excited for that. Grades 1, 2, and 3 are beginning UFly. That is, it is considered a tier 2 phonics program, but when looking at our data, we have a lot of kids with a lot of deficit in phonics. So the reg ed classroom teachers decided to go ahead and get trained in that. We did that right before break. Hired a sub so they could have a full day to get the training in. And they are going to go ahead and start that as a tier 1, which means they're doing that for the entire class. We kind of felt like, due to having so many with that deficit, that it would be a good idea for all the kids to have that as a tier 1. Angela and Pam and Julia, too many kids for them to reach, so the teachers are going to step in there and kind of get that going. Sensory room continues to be created and utilized to provide interventions for our tier 2 and tier 3 students as well. First, second, third grade teachers, again, they were trained right before break. This goes under our PD and UFly. This is a very much needed phonics program. This will be used as a tier 1 program in these 3 grade levels the remainder of this school year. So ideally, we do it the remainder of this school year. We get our Wonders programs going, then UFly for next year and beyond will be where it's supposed to be, which is a tier 2 intervention. Angela Mercer did some Barton training. This is a tier 3 intervention. So she got herself trained in that. So we're also starting that. So those kiddos that have big deficits, even beyond what we're doing for UFly, Angela's going to pick up and do Barton with. And we do have, I think, 3 or 4 kids that she's going to start with that. So that's going to have that one-on-one tier 3 intervention there. Chris Sheffel from RPDC was supposed to be here today to continue doing some math curriculum work with my staff, but due to the funeral that we went to today, we kind of put that on the back burner and we're going to revisit that. Our student enrollment as of right now is 158. And our ADA is 93.62.
Good attendance.
Yeah.
But elementary is usually pretty high.
Yeah.
Still yet good.
Pretty good.
Any questions from Ms. Wright? Mr. Dunn?
Well, I've added a few things this afternoon, but most of it you've got there. But our enrollment stayed the same, straight down the board from December. Our ADA for the year so far is the 93.26, so pretty consistent with, pretty much in line with the elementary there, slightly behind. Although we did have our last Tuesday.
Competition.
Competitive.
There's no competitive.
Glad you're setting a hot
what do you
stand
mean?
for him.
I wasn't going to say anything until
Just forced it out of you.
It didn't look like you were going to.
I did put in here, I just, thank you for understanding, my desire to be with my daughter last month. I do appreciate that. As admin, we do miss a lot, but there's times where we just need to be a dad or a mom, that sort of thing. And so it was opening night for Elf Juniors, an all-school play. She was a 6th grader in the all-school play, so it's kind of just a neat thing to go do. So I appreciate being able to be there, for that. got in here, basketball season's continuing. You know, they lost some practice time there towards, you know, as we were trying to come back because of the weather. But you know, they picked back up. The boys are in a tournament this week. Girls got some games. I do want to add, when I was at Dixon, I guess it was Monday night, played at Dixon Monday night, the girls did, or last Monday. I walked in, a guy heard that I was from Newburg, and he just had to tell me how impressed he was with our girls, not just as players, but as people, and just how much they appreciate having them, you know, be around, and just how things have gone, you know, joining the two teams. So that's been it's always neat to hear when somebody, you know, brags on your kids. And two of you guys are parents in here too, so it's a neat thing to hear. Beta had their state convention last weekend. Really, it was a short trip for them because it conflicted with homecoming. But we did learn that their art piece got first place again at state.
Nice.
So they've got quite the dynasty going, you know, with that. So
They're on the wall.
yeah, and you know, we've got several of them here. So we asked, I know Miss Kingsley asked Miss Guppy how many first place finishes that was. She said the number on the wall plus one. Yeah, so that's a lot of state championships for us. And once the girls get back, we can get their pictures and stuff. We're gonna put it on social media, probably write something up for the newspaper too, you know, for that. Homecoming went well. We've talked about, even internally, people have just been so grateful for the help they received, just through some emails and even just in our staff meeting today verbally. But we had 4 days to throw that together. Really less than that when you think about the things we had to do and the dance too. So between Sarah, you know, coordinating all that and Carl and Mrs. Guffey and all the people helping to get everything created, you know, and all that. And but it turned out pretty well, especially having just 4 days there. But then the dance went well too. I threw in here that we have a drug-free communities task force. We have a guy from that comes in periodically to interact with the kids, does a great job. But they have asked me to come in Wednesday to their monthly meeting just to share about things that are going on at Newburg. So it's an opportunity for me to talk about things like, you know, vaping, you know, that's stuff that every school's dealing with. I'm hoping to gain some connections and resources through that, because one of the things that we're finding now is we've got kids, obviously, who are vaping. Every school does, but there's not a lot out there to help the kids who are addicted to it. And you know, we've got something for them, but I don't know, they need more than what we can provide too. So I'd really like to get my hands on something like that to share with our counselor and our nurse, so we can help our kids who are addicted to that, because we have several that are. Unfortunately. Edgar Springs is going to bring their 8th graders to campus on Friday, so we are planning about a 3-hour visit with them, a combination of showcasing some of those things in our district. And we feel, you know, sets us apart and also getting to meet some of our staff. You know, we're going to feed them and let our 8th graders eat with them. I don't think our 8th graders know that yet, but we'll tell them. We want them to be able to mingle together, you know, when they come to visit. You know, they'll spend quite a bit of time in the ag building. We want to show our classes. We'll take them to a small number of classrooms too, to see some things going on in class, whether maybe a biology lab, you know, or something like that too. So we've got about 3 hours planned, you know, for that. So hopefully we're able to attract some of those Edgar kids. There's about 12 of them. You know, of course, they get to choose between Rolla, Licking, and us to get several of those. Early in the year, we received notification that 8 of our students had some writing published. I think we shared that a few months ago. We just found out that we've had 18 more students get some writing published. I did have a student share with me his piece of writing, and they've got 100 words. That's all they've got, 100 words to tell a story. And the one I read last week, it was just, I mean, it really, it moved me. And when you know the kid, there's a lot of deepness to those 100 words. And it's pretty neat. And I appreciate Mr. Hildebrand and our teachers for facilitating that. And it's something the kids will always have with them if they're published, you know. So it's pretty cool. So more will be coming out as we get more information, as the book comes out, that sort of thing. But it's pretty cool that we've had 26 students already that are published. So, Mr. Simley shared with me last week that in the first semester, we had 35 courses completed in Adventum for the first semester. So it's quite a bit. We've got some that are still working to get finished. It's not something where there's a deadline, but 35 courses completed first semester. So we're going to be on them. They got to get caught up. So real quick, some things I added. We had our staff meeting today at our PD day. We shared some more research-based stuff, and we'll talk more about some of that. We share the data and kind of the things we're doing. But it's nice to be able to share some research-proven strategies that help learning improve. This, you know, in the past, we've shared some like John Hattie visible learning research, which is the most extensive research in education. This particular research we shared today was all about making learning stick. And basically, cramming leads to faster forgetting. So what can you do besides cram? And there's about 2 or 3 really effective strategies. And we shared those with teachers. And of course, there's a link to it in the newsletter as well. But just those are the sorts of things we're doing in our admin meetings, or our staff meetings, trying to share some of those things with teachers that they can then take to their classrooms, even share with students. A lot of times we tell kids to go study. We do it as parents, we do it as teachers, but how often do we teach them how to study? And do we know effective studying techniques? We just say, go to your bedroom and study, go study for that test. But we don't necessarily teach them how to study and how to study effectively. And so that was some of the things we talked about today. Attendance committee met today for a little over 2 hours. We had about 16 students we visited on. So there was some credit lost. But there are also a lot of students who are going to have some stipulations to get the credit they missed too many classes in. We allow 5 absences for the semester now. You had those kids, some kids are around 8 or 9, you know, and so we put some things in place that if they maybe serve, you know, 3 Friday night detention or something, they can earn their credit. If they don't, they lose it and have to go to summer school. But it's on them. So it's an opportunity to, even though they violated our policy, that they can earn their credit. We did have a small number that are in the 20s. It's hard to give credit when they miss 20 days. So, but we'll be getting letters out with those decisions, hopefully this week. That's the plan. Now we've got that decided. Another thing, I plan on visiting with seniors soon to talk about criteria for graduating. You know, we've got the credits, but the handbook also states that, I'll read it here word for word. If a student fails to meet all necessary requirements for graduation, he or she will not be able to walk at graduation. And so I want to remind them of that as we're in this final semester. If we have some seniors that need a particular class to graduate, and they miss too many days, they haven't met the criteria to graduate because that class they may need, if they miss too many days, then according to the handbook, they forfeited credit. And so.
So you can have that conversation with them better.
Yes. Yes, no, yeah, that's gonna be a pretty quick conversation. So, so just, we're gonna share that with them because we want everybody walking. Needs to walk, and deserves to walk, and don't want any surprises, and they need to know.
A gentle reminder helps.
So just know that I plan on having that, that conversation with. And that's it.
Questions from Mr. Dunn? No? Thank you, sir. Mr. Kingsley?
Bit shorter, you know, we haven't been in school very long here this semester, but just kind of hit some highlights, things I want to mention. Draft budget has been established, starting to work on that. We will have the teacher minimum pay 40,000 like we do this year, but this time we're also bumping the masters to 46,000. Be that steady increase over the next year, next couple years for that, what I'm seeing is that the 40 is gonna stay the same for the next couple of years. Masters will go 46, 47, 48, then they'll start basing on some other things, so that's kind of how we're getting started. Recruiting, developing, attracting staff. Want to mention, and I don't know how much you talked about student assist team, but it's becoming very impactful, I would say, from the conversations that I'm hearing. Our admin meetings that you all are discussing is becoming very impactful to our students that are struggling at the elementary. And so I think for our staff to have that opportunity to come and sit and visit among a collaborative team and talk about the students and what the needs are, and then work on what interventions can be put in place is really a piece that I'm glad to see is taken off so quickly. So I wanted to mention that. And then is there anything you want to add to that student assist team?
Yeah, we talked a little bit about that today in our faculty meeting. And we have one kiddo in particular that we've really seen.
Celebration.
And yeah, we celebrated him a little bit today, and it just feels good to know that, it was rough the beginning of the year, and the things that we put in place and the things that we've done as a team to see where he is now. It's just amazing.
That child was one of my biggest worries coming into the year, and to see how well he's doing and how successful he's being in the classroom.
And the teacher was even just,
She was.
she was very
Yeah.
in awe.
I think that supportive environment, that's what we're looking for, that collaborative environment so that we can help kids be successful. When this child was not finding success,
Yeah.
and then it was almost feeling like a throw your hands up in the air, what are we going to do? Well,
She
now
was
with
at
this
that.
SAT
Yeah.
team, she was there and she was worried. And now with this team and having those conversations and supports and getting him the support that he needed, and then watching him grow and changing interventions if they don't work is really, to me, it's one of the things that teachers want very much, is how do we help our kids? It doesn't feel good if you come in and you see kids not doing well and you don't know what to do. So I wanted to mention that. And then, of course, the sensory room that's being developed right now, that for those sensory breaks that kids are needing coming out of the SAT team. So as they refer a student to the SAT team and they discuss them, then if it's something that's behavioral or something that the child just needs a moment to get some regulation to their body so that they can go into math class, or they can go to return from specials to the classroom, or whatever that might be, then they have a chance to go in and do a little calm down with an instructor and then go back to class to build. So kind of want to mention that, and that's just being developed. I know that
And we got a
both
long
of
ways
these
to go
ladies,
on that, but we're working on it, and it is impacting.
and I know both of these ladies have used them quite a bit in their career,
Yeah.
and have seen that impact that it can have on a kiddo. So they're getting that going, getting that starting, getting some tools in place and some opportunity for kids in place to just help them regulate so they can learn. The develop quality educational instructional programs, just, I think understanding the data, really knowing where do we stand. I think that's something that I felt like maybe our staff didn't fully understand where our kids were. What are we seeing that's going well? What are things that we want to work on? And so you all will get an opportunity, tonight to see, and they'll take you through the data tonight of our current reality. They also, I think both of you ended up taking your staffs through it today, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they were wanting to get it in, so they were able to get it into their faculty meetings today. And so I think, conversations that come out of that, when you really see that and you really start to think, what can we change, or what is going well? What do we do with this so that we can get to the next level? Win time is something that's gotten started in our 3rd through 6th grade, which I love because that's more student specific. You're looking at what does that individual child need to get to the next level? What do they need to be proficient? And so they're creating some time in their classrooms to give those students very specific intervention or support to be able to get those standards mastered. I think to get that started already at this point in the school year, well, I was excited to hear that you all were doing that. Facilities and safety or grounds and buses and so forth. Just mentioning that we're collecting bids right now. We're collecting for Tuck Point at the 2-story building, placing the new lights in the barn, the concrete entrance at the back of the elementary, replacement of sidewalks. We're also requesting bids for resurfacing the parking lot during this summer. And then I don't know, Carl and I talked a lot about the parking lot. It's not right, it's not there where we have to resurface right now, so that could be something that if we could wait one more year, depending on how much these other bids are, how much. Cultivate a healthy, safe, warm climate. I have to put snow days on there because they just bright, the staff and the kids, when they come back from a snow day, they're always like, that was cool, But in all honesty, we are moving to a more collaborative environment. And I didn't put that on there, but I feel like that, in a nutshell, is really something that's exciting for us right now. And when I say a collaborative environment, I mean the SAT team, the attendance team that you just spoke about, grade level meetings, faculty meetings every month, committee meetings that we're having, where people have something that they have a vested interest in, getting to be a part of committees that drive those kinds of things. We had, calendar committee meeting today, where we had an elementary representative, Miss West, and we had a high school, middle school representative, having those conversations. Our admin team, we meet regularly. At least twice a month is our goal. We just have a lot of collaborative teams that are doing a lot of good work. And I feel like our whole environment has just become very collaborative. And it's exciting to see that kind of spirit grow within the district. And so really, when I think about culture, that's what's meaningful, is that we're really working together and valuing the input that each one of these experts will bring. And like I said, it was a little bit shorter this time, but any questions? Did I answer the question?
Any questions from Ms. Tingley?
None.
Switch that out there. Facilities, anything new there? And you mentioned.
I mentioned just a
Bids
couple
and
things
things.
here. I talked to Wiley today. They were supposed to get me, because I don't know if you all want to approve that or not. When we add the fence across the middle, it's going to increase the cost of our original bid. So that was a lingering question for me. Do you all want that approved, or we just go for it?
Kim, I would like to just see their final
Sure.
idea.
Yep.
Maybe.
Let's see how they.
Because
share that out too.
we've talked about it like 27 times.
I know, I know. We know what's
Make
going
sure
on.
we're all on the same page, and that's all I would care about.
Sounds good. So they were going to get it back to me today, but I didn't see it, so I bet I have it tomorrow.
Is that from Wiley?
From Wiley Fencing, right. And there's just been some crosswires in there. When I talked to her, I thought so-and-so was up there, and I said, well, I didn't see him. She goes, let me go talk to him. So there was just a kind of a little, the insurance
Snag,
inspector,
yeah.
little snag, yeah. The insurance inspector was here this week or last
Music.
week at Music. Yep, Music was here last week, so we'll get a report from them. Few little things that we know, we'll need to kind of have our eyes on, but we'll get a report from them, then we can look more collectively. And then technology updates, we just completed today, the E2E. Are you all familiar with that? It's an organization that we submit, like we applied for that, so we grouped up with them. I don't know how to say it. It's not like we're paying them anything. And there's a portion that we put in, but they go out and get vendors for us, and it's at a much cheaper price than if we went looking for it. And it's a matching, I want to say grant, but I don't really know. Is it a grant, E2E? I don't know how to say what that is. Opportunity. So we pay about 20%, they pay the rest, and we're able to put in not anywhere near the amount we're going to get for this. So we got that submitted today. Dave and I were working together last night. Everything should be submitted today. If we get all the things that we're looking for, we're looking at a lot of new switches, access points. We bought, I think, around 15 or 16 access points last year, trying to get some Wi-Fi out there. Those are good, but we have a lot of older ones that just need to be replaced. And so they've just reached the end of their life. So a lot of access points, some Cat 6 cabling, supplies to just continue the cleanup, possibly one more battery backup. He was going to check it today and see. He was thinking there was one area that still needed that battery backup. Also just nailing things down security-wise. We just still have opportunities sometimes for kids to get into our Wi-Fi. Those things are going to go away very soon. He just controlling that system a little bit more, having a higher performing system. We've made such big improvements already, but we want to take it to the next level. So I just wanted you all to know
I
that.
think the end down there is consistently
The
problematic.
opportunity will go away for a week.
Yeah, until they figure it out.
He tells me
They are smarter.
pretty soon they aren't getting it. So we'll see who wins this battle.
Let's see who.
I know, I'm excited myself.
Every time I hear that, I get a text from my kid. I got it again.
Hey, guess what, Dad? We're winners today.
We win. No, kids won.
The tech guy, Josh, had conversations about that too. Yeah, we're very aware that-
And then one of the things Dave and I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, Josh and I have had conversations about that too. We're aware the kids are finding some holes somewhere.
They're sharp.
Where it comes through, but
They are sharp.
we're gonna try to tighten that up. It's a lot better than it was. but
Oh, my.
There's still
God.
some,
Yes.
there's still some holes there.
Yes.
Are you still enforcing the cell phone issues?
Whenever they come across my desk.
Has there been much of
Is
that?
your staff enforcing so they come across your desk? I need to rephrase the question.
There are some that are just like, I mean, anywhere I've been, there's some more so than others, but, what we're seeing now, probably more than anything, is not necessarily if they're using them, but the phone may be in a back pocket instead of in a pouch put up. And I hear more of that than anything else, than actually using it.
Still like for us to try to hold our ground on what we said on that
Absolutely.
start of the year.
No, we talk about it, I mean, every staff meeting we're talking about it, it comes up like, send them my way, send them my way, and, and they do, but more than anything right now, it's, hey, I see that they have the phone, they don't have it out, they're not using it, but I see they have it, they just don't have it in the pouch put up. And that's probably the biggest thing we're dealing with right now, actually using it,
One thing,
outside of some of those holes and those kids find them.
I don't know. I still think it's way better than what I expected it to be, to be honest.
It is,
I'll
but it
agree
can go
with that.
backwards in
Yeah.
6 months if we're.
Oh, no, I agree with you on that
Sure.
too. Hard. Yeah, we gotta keep a.
6 days.
It won't take long.
Yeah.
It'll take long.
Dave's gonna get me a quote also for us bringing our cameras into one location. Right now, we've got some outside, some inside, and so we have different platforms we have to go to be able to see them. So looking at that for next
That would be
year.
nice, yes.
Yeah,
That-
yeah.
Everything works together.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He did say he would like to get your emails, your accounts onto the new domain with the .org. We have some time in February.
Just learn this one, don't change it now. I'm old. Takes me time to adjust.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, I was trying to get the email on my new
.org.
iPad. It took me almost an hour before Trevor goes, didn't they change that?
Oh.
Yep, they sure did.
Well, this is Josh. Josh is dynamic.
Yeah.
So anytime you are having any trouble with your technology, come up, say, can I have Josh, please? He'll come down and fix you up because he really.
Matt just used him.
Did you? I'm
Matt
telling you,
did. Yeah.
anything you need.
He said the
We
magic
got
word to
Dave,
Matt
but
about
we
a
got
password,
Josh.
and Matt's like, what's the password?
Did you get the Wi-Fi?
Yeah, he's gonna hide.
You just
it.
handed that to me like candy.
I
got it.
was here earlier.
It's
Amazing what these kids
I know you spoke
telling
about
you
it.
what,
but I'm like, he's sitting right there.
Keep herself in pizza.
Hole number 12.
Not know how your financial relation operates.
Don't have Wi-Fi.
Okay. Okay. Anything,
You're gonna have your-
anybody have any questions on facilities or any of those things?
Pretty much.
All the doors
And
and
accused of it.
magnets all working like
Yeah.
they should?
Yes. There were a
Key
couple
fobs
that
are
were-
all good and
The key fob issue, didn't we have a fob issue the other day?
We
We made
just
one.
We
had
had-
to collaborate.
We
on-
had an issue with this door though, didn't Dave come up and fix that? With this
superintendent
that-
door.
Yep. Yep, but didn't we have an issue and Dave came to fix that? He did.
I was
He
just-
did. I
Maybe he
think,
did.
I think somebody told me about it and then Carl was fixing something and I called Dave. He hopped online, got it fixed and I go, Carl, you don't need that. He goes, oh. So, I mean, no, there aren't
Did
any
we have a
issues.
problem because Carl was fixing something?
No, but we might have had he fixed it.
Um,
We didn't yet, so we stopped it from happening.
But we did have to
We,
fix some things in the breezeway too,
Oh, yeah.
like a couple months ago or so. So
Yeah.
there were some issues there.
I saw a few bills where we had some
Yep.
issues.
But I think we're good
Some
now.
things worked on.
Yeah.
Just
And
making sure we got those all
Are you-
working.
the old
are you
gym
talking
door,
about
we had
the
issues there.
security? No?
No, there was some magnets and different things that were just wrong with our doors, and he's worked on them all. And everything's working now.
Okay.
It's good now.
Good.
Yeah.
Good, good.
How's our drop off and I know we're kind of moved on a little bit, but our drop off and pickup for elementary and everything, is it staying pretty smooth?
Yeah.
All that? I haven't heard anything, so I'm assuming that it had.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
looks smooth every morning I'm here.
Yes, that's,
Yeah.
yeah. It'd be my complaint today as well. Really out there.
Much more organized than it was 3 years ago.
Oh, yes.
Oh. We'll move on to our action items.
Terrible.
I apologize. I should have put a couple of those up in the reports and I don't know. what
No,
my
that's fine.
brain
This is
was.
fine.
That's okay.
No, this is where they should,
I
this is where they need to be.
Did that work out? Okay.
Because it's a one-time thing.
Right, okay, that's kind of how I saw it, but then I'm like,
Dr. Bush, are you ready to present the
I am.
special education program review?
she asked, should she stand up or stay seated? I said, pretty casual to stay seated, right? Right.
I thought we were gonna pull a
Whichever you
chair
like
out
to
in the
do.
middle
If you
between
want
all
to
of us.
stand right
I
here.
did originally tell her to stand here.
You can,
I did originally tell her.
but then you have to face that way so
Yeah,
the
you gotta face
camera
the
gets,
camera.
gets you.
And then turn around every so often to make
Yeah.
sure people are watching.
Or you can sit right there.
So our December 1 special education child count was 47, which is down 6 from last school year. We have 7 students currently in the evaluation process. That could be a reevaluation or initial evaluations. We released 4 students this school year from special education. 11 students moved into the district. Moved out of the district, and 14 students with an IEP moved into the district. And we had 2 students with 504 plans that moved out of the district and 1 that moved in. We have a total of 15 504 plans. And we have 2 students at Discovery School. When we look at the disability category count, we can see that specific learning disability is down from 20 to 9. Because we really have to look at the standards and indicators that DESE puts out to ensure that the students truly do qualify for a specific learning disability. Other health impairment is up, and I do wonder, if some of that is based on some of these are from last school year, so I don't have all of the why they chose to do change it to other health impairment from specific learning disability, but my guess would be they didn't qualify and they continued. We also have quite a few students that have moved in that had the identification of other health impairment. We have 30 students that are in regular class 80% of the time. And that's our highest category. And then we have 14, 40 to 79%. As I said, 2 were separate school day, and we only have 1, which is a move-in student that is less than 40%. We're getting ready to have the IEP for this student. We have 2 certified special education teachers, elementary ECSE, and 6 through 12, Trista Hans and Emily Mathis. And then we have 1 speech language pathologist, and then myself. We do have 1 non-certified special education teacher for K through 6.
Certified but not appropriately certified.
Okay,
right?
not appropriately
Yeah,
certified. I
She's
apologize.
sub-cert. That's
Yeah.
okay. She is certified to be there, just not.
She's certified as a
Sub-cert
substitute
until
teacher.
she finishes her degree.
Yep. And then we have 5 paraprofessionals. We have 2 that are in the classrooms. I'm sorry, 3 that are in the classrooms and 2 one-on-one paras. Some of the strengths that we have, the sensory room, again, that's in progress. Some of the things that we didn't mention with the sensory room is we also use that for occupational therapy and physical therapy, and so their resources are things that we also use for sensory breaks. And some of the beginning of the year IEP training that we had really helped us to write better, more effective present levels describing students' strengths and weaknesses compared to their same-aged peers. The elementary SAT team was developed with special education support to collaborate student strengths and weaknesses in the classroom. This has really helped for us to find universal strategies to help students before they get referred for special education. And our DESI file review corrections, we had about 18 of them. They are all submitted, and now we're just working on our current self-assessment. And since 21-22, we are down 50% in special education numbers.
Yeah.
Which is what prompted that on
Mhm. The onsite.
because it was too many students were being identified.
Before, yeah.
Yes, yes. So big, really good work.
Awesome. Yeah.
Changing that culture and getting kids to help them in other ways.
Mhm.
Thus the SAT.
That's the SAT team.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
And some things that we're going to work on, we're going to do continuously learning and understanding special education. I want to continue to give parents and teachers that support to fully understand what the disabilities are. We, of course, are working on more interventions and collecting data. Our multi-tiered system, our SAT team, we're getting better in that area. And then just training our staff on universal accommodations. And the other thing is transitions that we're gonna, it's not on the list, but transitions are things that we're gonna work on as well. Just coming up with our 16 and older students, a better understanding of their IEPs and things that they can do after school. And some of the things that I'm looking forward to doing in the future, we do have a visit for Marys County, our one school district, on our next PD day. I'm taking my whole staff, and we are going to observe classrooms and just see how they run with their special education, how they run their special education program. And then we're going to collaborate and come back with some ideas and things that we can do here. Working with building administrators to purchase academic resources that align with the grade level resources. I'd like to keep having, the students need to continue learning grade level expectations, but as well as having some resources to help them fill gaps. We are looking at some AAC devices, which are augmentative and alternative communication for our nonverbal students. I'm really excited about that. Just to throw one out, we got our new TV programs.
Interactive panel.
Interactive boards.
And we have one of our nonverbal students that's really actually doing a little bit of talking, saying next, you know, and it's
Communicating and
really,
teaching
Hey,
the other kids what
everything-
to do.
everything-
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's
It-
tremendous.
It was,
Hit next, he was saying. Hit
yes,
next.
yeah, it
Hit
was
next.
great.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if Emily Mathis has ever spoken out in a PD.
Yeah,
Today,
she was
she
about
did
tears,
because she was so
yes.
excited to
I mean,
tell us.
that's a huge step.
This is
Yeah,
a big
it
deal.
really is.
It's a really big deal. Yeah.
And then I'm looking to maybe start next year creating data binders for our students. So it's really important for our students to understand their IEPs themselves, and so that they can be self-advocates for their education. And also, again, going to transition trainings. And then we have a transition fair that's coming up. I believe it's in March that I've got to get our students signed up for in Richland. So I believe it's in Richland. I'll have to double check that. Does anybody have any questions?
I want to say, since I've been on the board, I don't know that we've had such an in-depth talk about the teams and the parts that go into special education as what you all have given us today. So that was fantastic. So it gives a better understanding of what all is involved and how in-depth it actually goes.
When you said you had 5 paras, is that counting the new individual, the new person?
Yes, the new person, yeah.
That just started?
Mhm.
Any questions to Dr. Bush? Yep, nice job. Tough to come in. And
So next time you're going to stand.
now you got your easy year, now you-
Yeah.
it's up to get that disc review thing,
Yeah.
that's a real, yay.
Yeah, we're getting all of that submitted.
But although, just know, if you keep running to board meetings, we'll take that into consideration.
Right.
Again, glad you're here.
Thank you.
And glad you're such a great advocate for kids. So, you know,
Amen.
for kids that can't speak for themselves, or kids that can't advocate for themselves. Thank you for watching out for them.
Can you share those success stories? Because I mean, I think that's
Yep, that's what it's about.
what it's about. My goodness.
We need to.
If you can improve any child, any little bit, that's.
Yes.
That's
Okay,
a
so-
success.
Ms. Sicky over here, that was not here last week.
Skipper.
Skipper. Skipper here. Well, she kinda
We'll put her
skipped to
on
get here.
till
Yeah, she just
11:30.
skipped all around Skipper.
I think she needs to be.
For data presentation, you're on here first,
Okay.
you know, so you get to go first.
Josh, can you pull up that map data? Please. I sent
Are you gonna
you
get
and I'm
up? Are
blocking
you
it.
gonna get up, or you gonna sit?
Well, I have it on here and I'm.
Her voice will protect.
That's good.
Josh is gonna pull it up there.
Next thing we're gonna need, Josh, is one of those laser.
Ability
pointers.
here.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
on spot. We'll say,
That was my personal email you sent it to.
Josh. What? Send it.
Send it again. It happened.
Well, it's because you missed the last 3 board meetings.
it doesn't connect.
Can you tell her the password?
Now, if you're ready, I'm just
Mr.
gonna
Dunn,
say,
you
Mr.
want to see
Dunn,
if she can, yeah, I mean, Mr. Dunn can go.
he was able to do Comcast.
Since Mr. Dunn's got all
Yeah,
that
you wanna
stuff
see-
together.
You want to show her how you
Oh,
pass
man.
Here, I just sent it to you, Josh.
Do you have Chromebook?
No.
Is that Chromebook?
Did you need it to the tech email or?
Either way works. It's not
Find
one to pull up.
So is it Miss Wright or is it Josh?
It's Josh.
Hey.
Oh, she's right.
I mean, just like that.
Which email
I
she sent?
sent it to jdavis@newburgk12.org.
Hey, while he's pulling that
How
up,
many emails you have, Josh?
That's how important he is. He's got 12.
while he's pulling that up, I told you that we had a student that wrote a 100-word story and shared it with me. I'll read it to you. I took a picture. I said, can I take a picture of that? And when you know the kid, like it makes what he wrote even more impressive. But just kind of like some of the work we're getting from some of these students. And this is a student that's got quite the past. And it's going through a lot just to make it through a day. So as I was brushing my teeth, but the title is Who's on the Other Side of the Mirror? So we got like a little 100-word essay. As I was brushing my teeth, I saw movement in the mirror. It was not me, but it looked like me. It acted like me. Soon after, I splashed myself with cold faucet water to see if I was dreaming, but that was just the beginning. I started doubting myself again and again, and it started talking to me. After, I was about to walk out my door, and that's when I realized there are kids in this world who are different. They look like us, they act like us, but they are not us. It's missing. Like, when I'm looking at that kid reading this, and that was so deep, for
Yeah.
that kid.
That's awesome.
Share a lot more about it, but it's just, sometimes it's just, kids impress you.
Yeah.
They surprise you. And you realize that there's a lot more in there than what you see.
And sometimes once you get out of the ones like that,
Oh, yeah.
they
Because
start,
you're gonna have
they
it.
start, they start to blossom like a flower. Sometimes it's just figuring out how to get it out of them, having something that they can connect with to get it out of them. And then next time it's just bigger.
So that's
and
gonna be one of
bigger.
the published pieces.
So those are awesome times.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, great.
Okay, so the map data, ELA there, 3rd through 6th grades, if you look, I've got 2023, and then I have 2024 data. Shows percentage-wise how many of our kids per grade level there were in below basic, proficient, advanced, and then the gray, in order for us to compare to the state gives an average, and they always combine proficient and advanced together. So I went ahead and combined our proficient and advanced together. And as you can just kind of look over there, we are nowhere near, for the most part, the state average.
So we have a lot of room to grow. Any questions on that part there? I mean, it just, yeah. We didn't talk a whole lot about this today. We just I just presented it. The teachers saw it. They know we got work to do. We're gonna.
And I think they're already anticipating
They're
significant
already,
improvement this year.
yes. And
So
on
I
my
think
last
that'll be a
slide, we'll talk
conversation.
about some of those things we're gonna do, but yeah, so that's ELA. If you go to math, which is the next one, same thing. Year 23 and 24 up there. We got Newburg there where we're at, combined proficient advanced, the state. A lot of growth there too that needs to happen. Next one is science. Same there in science. Just a lot of below basic. No advanced the past 2 years.
That's crazy.
That blows me away. None at all, 2 years in a row, so, yeah. Way off on that mistake.
I
The
guess that
next
means you have
slide.
something to stay awake at night and think about.
I mean, hey, we can only go up. We're at
We're at the bottom.
the next slide here is, I wanted to throw this in here just because, you know, we just compare ourselves to the surrounding conference schools. You know,
Doesn't look like we're alone.
we're not alone. No. Not alone. You know, you look at Dixon and, one of my staff members today, a couple of them said, and it's right, you know, they have Dixon, they said, has a lot of the same staff, veteran staff. It does make a difference when you don't have the turnover.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that's huge. Been a lot of turnover here, you know, administration wise, teacher wise.
You know what that's for, huh?
And I did not, let's see. We did kind of
Just
look
on
at
something.
the,
I mean, which is-
not the bottom though.
We need to be better.
Similar, we were, my mind, I think they were a bit higher. We're very similar to them.
Yeah. I think we are,
I
yeah.
was really, that one surprised me a little bit.
Well, it's like the.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good. I mean, it's always good.
Yeah, that 10% there though with fourth grade, that's,
Oh, yeah.
That's scary.
yeah, and this data here is just this past year. I didn't put 23 in here, I just did just this past year. And so this is proficient and advanced. So the question is, next slide is just some things, what are we doing to improve math scores? Right off the bat, I think overall, the teachers are very excited about, I mean, and the kids, they're doing, and I know Miss West is in here, our kids are excited about evaluate. I mean, they are doing really well in evaluate. I'm going to share that next. I think a lot of that is our attitude, you know, that comes from me, from my teachers. You know, if we're positive and we push our kids and we make it a big deal and we care and we talk to them about how important it is to do well on this, that's going to trickle down to our kids, to where if we have an attitude to where this sucks, we don't want to do that, you know, that's going to trickle down to our kids. So we started the year off right off the bat in August with that conversation in our back to school faculty meeting of how important it is to be positive and build our kids up. And our kids like to be competitive. They're competitive with themselves. They're competitive with the class, classrooms. That has really helped. And I think we're gonna right off the bat, just because of our attitudes and our atmosphere in the building, our environment, I think we're gonna see our scores rise just off of that alone. But some of the things that we are doing, I have on there adding more resources that align with the standards, giving the teachers the tools they need for tier 1 and tier 2 teaching. That's where the Youth Light comes in, the Wonders, giving them the PD, the Math Mammoth program. We didn't even have a math program prior to this year. So we have 3rd through 6th grade all participating in the same math program. I think that's going to help. It's already helping there. The teachers they have been open arms. Yes, what can you give me? What do I, they want these resources. They want, when we have our data team meeting talks and our team meetings, I call them, we talk about everything. But they're very eager they want more and more and more, give me more. So, I have the teachers, I have the staff to do it. They just did not have what they needed. And so, just like these interactive boards, I remember going to Tracy, I'm like, can we, Miss Baba was pretending hers was interactive. It's like, she was.
Touch it, and then she clicked it.
And she has it up by her desk, and she would have the kids, would go up, and as they would touch, she would, she pretended it was hilarious, but it was just like, oh my gosh,
Didn't have what they needed.
they didn't have what they needed. So just giving them, thank you and you for giving us the, freedom to and trust to give these teachers what they need to teach our kids. It's huge. Number 2, putting interventions in place to close gaps. That's the RSP plans, working in small groups. Yeah, sorry, reading success plans. The small groups that the teachers are starting to utilize, our SAT team, our win time, which stands for whatever I need. Analyzing, evaluate, STAR data, getting that Barton in there, intervention. That word, I know you're gonna get tired of hearing it, but it's the whole big piece to close those gaps. So
We could use some help in that area. We could
Yeah.
get an aide or two to help pull kids out, because as a classroom teacher, it's hard to teach to the regular ed and then try to figure out how to get interventions for all of those kids too.
yeah,
So that
and
would
we
be
could
nice.
use some, and I have that coming. That's kind of in the future next year, that I've got some ideas in place to get that training. Our teachers need trained on how to do that as well. We have the class size. We keep the class sizes small, so you can do that. But I do agree. They need the training to. It's not there yet. We've done a lot in 4 months, but
You're right.
we got a ways to go too. Any questions on that? Kind of our map data. We're hoping to blow that out of the water for. Yeah,
We're hoping you
we're
do.
also going to, our map schedule, our map testing schedule is gonna look different too this year. I think that's gonna help too.
What's gonna be different about it?
Well, we're not gonna test all sections in one day. I think that's gonna help.
That should help a lot.
Um,
It should make a difference. It's gonna be
Especially,
more student driven, what the student needs.
Yeah.
You
No,
know,
that- you're right.
That's what it is. That's the difference. We're not testing to get it done, testing to try to give our kids the best chance.
Yeah.
To score well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can see where they are, how we're doing, and reflect on our school. More. Give a good reflection.
and our internet, I was told that the internet was really bad during that time last school year. The teachers told me that today, and that probably
I'm
affected
sure it
the kids
impacted
too.
as well.
I mean, if they're in the middle of testing and then, I don't know.
They'd have to start over
I wasn't
sometimes.
here, but what I'm hearing is that they're in the middle of testing and then they're booted off and they have to start over and they don't know where they ended up and they didn't know what they read. Now they got, I mean, that alone
It was
is
exhausting. for them.
exhausting for a 3rd, 4th, 5th. They're gonna just quit, to get.
They're just gonna give up at that point.
Correct. So I think that played a factor in these
Just to
scores
get
too.
it done, really.
So,
Yeah. They're gonna take it like Matt did when he was in school. Never read the question, just write down the answer.
Make a little sentence. Your letters, a little word.
We have some really, really bright kids.
Oh,
We do.
Great
They're-
kids,
yeah,
great staff. We have some great tools coming in.
we do, yeah.
The buy-in of the importance is the difficult task. Get the kids on board with how important this is,
Yes.
because there's really no
Yes.
repercussions.
And our teachers have
Follow it
done
or
a
not.
great job of setting that up with evaluating. I think that's gonna flow through. I'm gonna show you this evaluate data here coming up.
Well, and I think you all, as building administrators, have shown our teachers how important it
Yeah,
is.
yeah,
And so if they don't have the buy-in, how are our kids gonna have the buy-in?
sure.
And the
I
understanding.
think we've been lacking that for.
Yeah, so
some time.
that's tremendous. So kudos to you all.
Josh, do you want me to resend the other to you, or can you find that?
I could probably.
You can
No,
find
he's gotta put his
He's
Tetris
sleeping
away.
over here.
I can resend it. It should say elementary evaluate comparison for 24-25. I think. I can resend it to.
Appropriate there, buddy.
I know, that was brave.
That's what we just had.
That was brave. Just Google your name and see what comes up.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking.
I was like, look back.
I think this is the other
On the
one.
big
I think
screen.
this is the-
Okay. Right now, Jay Davis.
Don't worry about it.
Oh.
Now you got him wondering.
Okay, I just sent it.
That job longer. He's gonna keep that job longer than today.
He is. Another one of them smart kids.
It's trying to fight me, you see that?
So this is kindergarten. Should start right off the bat with kindergarten here. And the way this is laid out, kindergarten, they've only tested twice. So they don't test every month. But they went, if you look on here, they went from 40% in October when they first tested to when they just tested in December before break, they jumped to 53%. So keep in mind, though, that they're being tested over a full year's worth of standards, so they haven't all been taught yet.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So the main
50%
thing,
is where they can.
So at halfway, they should be at 50%.
correct, and they're over that. So the goal is to see the growth. That's the main thing, is you always want to see that we're growing. If you look down at, see if I have ELA on top, down at the math, they grew huge there, 42% to 64%. So lots of good, they're on track there. I think we're going to see some figures over there. First grade, if you click on the first grade tab down there at the bottom, Josh, ELA at the top, these guys grew huge, 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 huge. 47% to 66, they're already in the green, and we're only halfway through. And same with math, they're at 74%. Those ladies, they're working their tail off with those kids,
That's awesome.
and it's amazing.
And it's showing.
Yes, it's showing. Yeah,
Did you
it's
happen to
showing.
go, did you happen to go back and look at last year's evaluate scores?
I did, and I
I'm not
had,
asking to for kindergarten, but you can't for kindergarten.
I had, we're there,
Third
it's,
grade, then you get into third, fourth, fifth.
yeah, I had that on here. Remember, Tracy, when we met? But it was almost too confusing. I think Doug's gotta have
Yeah,
his
Doug's
own.
got it on his, and it was, he's gonna have to explain to me.
Yeah,
exactly,
it was
was-
almost too confusing, so I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna take last year's off and I have it, so
I'm
I,
just curious.
so I
No, that's
can
fine.
share
Oh,
it,
you've
but
seen
it just
Okay.
got too much to where I just thought,
I
let's just
understand.
focus on this year,
I
but,
understand.
and then
Overall,
second,
last year we grew. It seemed like we were
Probably
kind of
not the
making a
same
step
rate.
up.
but
till
it got
December,
stagnant.
And
We're,
then we just flatlined in general.
Most months.
But
Yeah.
in the beginning, it looked like we were cruising. I thought, oh, we're at 50%. This is awesome. And then we just
I stayed there.
stopped
second
in
grade,
general.
you're gonna be able to see here, this is where we start testing every month. But every other month is where we gauge the growth at. So we compare August, October, and December. They're growing, 31, 38, 53. And even in September, November data, they kind of stayed the same there, but not, I mean, it's not as much as what we did through August, October, and December. And then down at the bottom is the math. And look at that,
Still grew in all the months.
huge growth there in the math, yeah. But she works her tail out too with her kids. She makes it a very big deal in her class.
Math in November,
I mean, I'm
60% probably pretty darn close to proficient
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah,
It looks like December
Yeah.
67 was proficient, so that
yeah,
knocked on the door.
Yeah, they are.
Proficient.
now third grade, if you look, they're still showing growth. ELA, we've got 30, 33, 37. And then, but the math, I mean, they're struggling a little bit in math.
So
They are, they did grow a little bit. But we are, Julia is gonna push in there and do a little bit of title math with that.
They're doing math mammoths in third grade.
They are.
They are.
Well,
May
a
not
question
be
I would
quite on
have,
target, maybe.
What's that?
Makes me wonder if it's not quite on target with the standard there, maybe. I don't know. I'm not familiar with math mammoths.
Math, and we talked about this in my faculty meeting this morning. When they hit third grade, that math really kicks in. That
and a question I would have, if they were really behind at the end of last year, that's even gonna make that
It
number
is.
bigger.
it is.
Yes, you were right.
Yeah.
Third grade just really steps up.
It does.
And of course, you're testing over so many standards you haven't been taught yet too. Standards, and there's probably some multiplication that they're not yet mastered.
Yeah, they haven't mastered. That's what I
Not even
would say
maybe.
where it's at. Yeah. Fourth grade, 39, 45, 51% there. They went backwards a little bit in their September, November there. I mean, not hugely, but enough to have some conversation.
Do you know, I don't know this, and I've looked at this kind of data for years, across the grade level, maybe you too, Doug, I don't know, across the grade level, September, November, looks like we're struggling a little bit. Are those standards in line for grade levels? Like, there's some continuity in those grade levels? From if you looked at September across all grade levels. You see what I'm saying?
or each grade level testing similar standards? Is that what
Yes,
you're
that's what I'm trying to say. I was attempting to say that.
I know.
saying?
That's what I was
I
going for.
That's exactly
Thanks
what
for
I'm looking
and pulling that out for me. And wouldn't it be interesting if that was like all, like more geometry standards, or if it was more, it'd just be
Well,
interesting to
I'll
see
be
if there was
curious
something
to
similar.
see this January. Like
Yeah,
this
yeah,
See
yeah,
where they
yeah.
started
See if
at.
they
Be
get a
able to
big jump.
plug in
Yeah.
here with.
If not, I wonder if we could.
But to go from 18 to 37 is
double.
yeah.
There
that's
may be
true.
some
That is
content area that we're not,
Yeah, but we
That's
can,
what I'm
we
more
can
concerned
go into
if they
that
were so
deal
far
and it
behind.
shows what.
it does, but we don't usually look at what
We
we
haven't
have.
done that, right?
40%.
Just struck me
Yeah.
as I was looking at this,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And there again, you can see fourth grade math. They are showing growth, but it's
But I
not
mean, they
as,
started at the bottom.
it's not
10,
as good. Yeah. Yeah, they,
Okay, so 18 to 37.
We'll expect to see that in
No.
the yellow at least on the next one.
that's what I'm
What
hoping.
like it is
I'm hoping.
discuss
Yeah.
close. Yeah, it looks like
Now, fifth grade,
it's amazing.
you go to fifth grade,
Scroll down just a little bit, will you, and see what the key is for math? What do you get to basic?
And then
26 to 51.
it shifts.
So they
a
gotta
little
get to 52%
bit.
in math to be proficient.
What grade level are you on up there, Josh?
fifth grade.
Yeah, fifth grade.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do you want me to go back to fourth grade and you can with that, or?
You might, because I think what you were, I just wanted to see what the target would be. Okay, 37, so 40% would get them up to basic.
Mhm. Yeah, it shifts as they get older.
Yeah.
Yeah. But fifth grade math, they've got some yellow going on there. Yep. They're showing some growth overall. And they are working hard at it. I know you go to sixth grade now, sixth grade, they're Showing some growth there too. 58% in December. Real close to that. Well, and we had some sixth graders score 100%
On ELA.
on the ELA. So we've got to have some advanced
Wow.
kiddos in this, on this math
6B
test.
ended the green in ELA. We're at 67% in ELA and we're at 40%. So we're 14 points from being in the green in math.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
yeah.
Part of our problem is, and I think it goes all the way down, is homework. Nobody likes to do homework. We can't send it home because, parents don't have time but that's where they get their practice. That's where they get their memorization. That's where they get their repetition. And I think it shows in math that we're not getting that. And teaching the lesson and then practicing the next day, that's not really the help they need. They need that outside of the classroom. The more places you learn something, the more that you actually learn it. And they need to see it somewhere besides the classroom, and I don't know how to do that.
Well, if you could just put your classroom on TikTok, they would probably learn. They come in next week and score 80%.
It's back.
It was only being for
Back,
6 now.
back.
They found the loophole.
Nope.
They going around the system.
No.
It's only back.
Everybody complained. He was just
I
like,
know.
Please
I don't
do
use any of that. I don't use watch or nothing like that.
If you could just figure out how to get your homework on
Hey, but
that.
you do know you can pinch your screen to zoom in.
I did it a while ago.
oh,
So, ha-ha.
So, yeah.
But here's the 10 to view.
I think overall, I know my teachers they are taking this serious this year. The kids are trying hard. You have some that will kind of click their way through. You're always going to have that. But overall, we've made it a big deal, and I do it, that they want to hear their growth. They get very competitive. They want to hear, I do it all over the intercom, how much each grade has grown and things like that. So we're just going to keep trudging on with that, and I think we're gonna see growth. Keep moving forward. Yeah. And there is some work we need to do with math. And my main focus, we got to get this ELA going, get the reading, get the resources going there. Not that we're totally ignoring math, but it has kind of taken a second a little bit due to getting the reading and phonics and all that.
You can't do math if you can't read the problem.
So yeah.
I just made that up.
So I will be adding to this every month, and then we can, I don't know, maybe the end of the year, we want to
yep, we come
take a
over
look.
another
You
time, or
guys
if
may
you want
be
to give,
interested in seeing where we
Well,
end up.
I'd like to see it
Yeah.
before the end of the year.
Right.
so give a little feedback, maybe in your
Like
report.
Feedback,
Or, yeah,
Feedback in your reports now.
For sure.
March, maybe a little feedback on, hey, this is where we're at.
Maybe in February, maybe
Well, there's a bunch, but we don't go till
every
tomorrow.
couple months.
Yeah.
There's a bunch.
Yep.
Because
Well, I know. This is for December,
Yeah, this ended December.
but she can't get a Schoolboard till March.
Right.
Right,
Right, yes, because we test the end of the month.
Yeah.
So it would be
Right.
March, yes. Okay.
Yeah. They come back and get you.
You're done.
I thought you were on with your strategies. I misunderstood, but no, not
I
here.
did that, no,
Did I not hear what you said?
on the what, I'm sorry.
Playing the trumpet over there and thinking
What we're-
about it or something.
I
What,
misunderstood what you said. I thought you were gonna go through some testing strategies.
I didn't for evaluate, I just did that for math.
So what are you trying to say, Doug?
As far as the testing schedule,
Oh, the
Those types
testing,
of things.
the testing schedule, yeah. We're not gonna do the
I heard
whole,
that.
yeah, in one day. We're gonna break that up. In fact, I think we've got that testing schedule. We met with Master at the beginning of the year, and you had to send that out. Did you make any changes? Mastery on the map testing schedule?
Not
Any
until we talk
EOC?
about it.
Yeah, I think we're gonna.
Not till we talk about it.
I think we've got it. I've got it kind of set up.
Good.
So, we've got it.
Are
Where
there
it's,
are there manipulatives that sixth grade uses, fifth grade uses? The map test?
they can use, there's certain parts they can use their calculator on. Yep. We have, and Jamie can talk to that. Some of your kids can have it read to them on certain parts,
I'm not talking about that.
Alternative setting.
alternative settings.
I just meant all prepared for the test because they've either had some practice with one, know how to bring those manipulatives down to the toolbar.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the
Know how to
tools training
use
will probably
that.
go
Yeah.
through.
But they won't open that up yet.
Right.
They don't let
They
us
won't.
have access
I
to that.
understand that,
Yeah,
but I mean, when that does become available,
absolutely.
practice makes
Yeah.
easier for that student than the, oh, I've seen that before.
I think,
That's a big one, because they,
yeah, they
a
got
lot
to
of them
know how
won't
to.
bring that, it's right there, they've used it 28 times, but they won't,
Mhm.
during test time, they won't bring it down for whatever
Yeah.
reason, because they think they know, I know the answer, it's 42. Probably wasn't 42. You know, how many times I put 42 down? I was wrong every time, I put 42 down.
It is usually 47.
Yeah.
47's enough.
Listen to what the teacher told me.
Well, that's
A lot
part
of
of our
things you
win
do.
time too, is that I want them to utilize.
Taking strategies.
Would have been beneficial.
Good for most.
Okay, any
Moving
questions for
right
Ms. Wright
along.
on that? And it's hard to give those, I've been on your side where you get to give these numbers and you're looking at 10%, you're going, oh, do I really have to share that? But it's on the internet anyway, we can find it
I
if you
know.
want to look for it. But still, yeah, it's hard to give those.
It's nice to have it all there though,
Yeah.
and, you know, have a goal to,
Now you just kind of build your
yes. from here.
data so that you can show it from month to month, not
Yes.
month, well, evaluate, yes, but map from year to year,
Yes.
so they can follow those fifth to sixth to
Yep.
seventh, eighth as they go through. That's where you're gonna see.
That's your apples
there's
to
your-
apples there,
There's your
yeah.
growth.
Yeah.
Anyway. It's one of those necessary evils that we get to do,
Yeah,
not have to do, we get to do.
get to,
Some
that's
things we
right.
just get to do. One they had to. Questions from Ms. Wright? Thank you for putting all that together. It's time consuming.
Yeah, I had help, my counselor helped.
Yours is different.
It is a little bit.
Yeah, I looked at yours too.
Um,
No, but go ahead, Mr. Dunn.
I think when we go through our data too, you're going to see room for growth. That's a pretty consistent theme. And one of the things I do appreciate is all the work the elementary is doing, because it's really not an elementary thing and a high school thing. It's like when you think about preparing a kid for graduation, I mean, that's a pre-K to 12 thing, right? And so what they do ties into what we do. And I've been at the elementary for several years. I'm not going to pass blame or anything, but just the reality of what it is it's a continuum. And I know the challenges we have when kids get, because I've seen it when I was at the K-8, I'd have a kid go into 5th or 6th grade math, 2 or 3 grade levels behind. And you start talking about how much they have to grow every year, and how many years that has to happen. It's a lot of work just to get back on grade level by the time you get out of high school. You know, when you are that far behind that late into your school year. So I really appreciate the work they're doing, because I think that's going to have a huge impact on our district with the elementary students. So I think Ms. Wright and her teachers for their dedication to, you know, the desire to do that. And along with that growth, that's part of the thing with the John Hattie visible learning research is we want to use these strategies that give us a year's growth for a year in school, pretty much. I mean, that's a simple way of saying it. And there are strategies that'll give you 2 years growth at a year's time. Now, they don't work for everything. There's a lot of strategies that give you less than a year's growth for a year in school. And so what happens is if a kid gets a less than a year's growth for multiple years in a row, that gap just keeps increasing. And so we want to make sure we're using those high impact strategies and sharing those with our staff too, so they can start to incorporate those as well. And that'll take a little bit of time, but that's kind of where we're going, and we can touch base on that, you know, as we get towards the end, we talk about what we've done and where we're going, you know, with that. Start with our 7th and 8th grade scores. Break it down here, the 7th grade ELA, don't have the state average on there, but you kind of see where we are with the Frisco. Our seventh grade was low across the board last year, so that's this year's eighth graders. Eighth grade, you see more middle of the pack as far as the Frisco. Really, everybody's below state average for the most part in the Frisco. Pretty much everything, but that eighth grade ELA, kind of in the middle of the pack there. Eighth grade math, actually that's the highest grade, highest score in the Frisco. Still below state average, but the highest in the Frisco for the eighth grade math. Then our science, see kind of there in the middle of the pack for the Frisco, still below the state average. This is proficient and advanced combined is what this is. Need to hold that slide any longer. For 9 through 12, Algebra 1 was at the third highest in the Frisco, but still below the state average. There. English 2. A little behind Frisco lead there in English 2. Biology, there in the middle, state average. Let's see, I think government's next. Middle or bottom middle. Frisco there, low state average. Going into our evaluate data, just remember every other month, so in August you test some of the standards and then you don't test it again until October. So that's why I see August and October together, September and November together. So what you test in September is what you test in November. And so we've got 23 and 20, the last 2 school years there. ELA, we're kind of right where we were last year at this time. So right around the 50% mark there in October. I did not get the December's put on here, but I can tell you that when we go through the evaluate data, ELA across the board pretty much had a nice little jump in ELA. They did not in math. Math's kind of hovered, and we'll talk about math in a second. But in ELA in December, junior high and high school, we saw a bump, there for the December test. So that will be with the August and October, but kind of in line on a similar pace as last year. So I think we're on pace there to get to that proficiency mark, with our ELA here. The 8th grade, see slightly down from last year in that October data. Slightly higher, percent higher in the November one, but still on pace for higher than 50% there, before the midpoint of the year. So hopefully we can inch towards proficiency there. Let's see, our English 1, you can see we're a little ahead of pace on both of them so far. Both sets of data, so the October and the November are ahead of where they were last year, the English 1. So go from 51 to 54. And then on the November, went from 45 to 51 compared to last year. So slightly ahead from last school year. We're going to talk about the incentivizing growth because our teachers really do push this well at the high school level. English 2, we see it a little bit different. We're a percent higher in the October. Again, we did see across the board in the ELA in the December a jump I just don't have that on here. November, we dropped just a tad. But what you'll see in the November, even though we're 3% below where we were last year, this year's group went from 41% to 55% from September to November. So nice little jump there. If I'm going too fast, just tell me.
Does the key numbers, does that change every year? Or does that stay the same? Or is the percentage per basic or the percentage to get into?
Well, they're different. They change by some of the grade level tests, but as far like, I went back here to the 7th grade, you can see proficient 70 to 75.
Yeah.
8th grade, it went from 73 to 84. So I don't know what they use. I don't know if it's just a grade level thing or if it changes I don't know what they use to.
I know, yeah, all the grade levels and
So,
subjects are all different.
They
Yeah.
try to mock
They
math.
do, they very
And
much,
so,
if they're proficient here, they should be
Yeah,
proficient in
yeah,
math.
so I do know that
I don't
they're
know the answer.
They're basing it on, how many standards
Well, that changes
they
every
should
year.
be.
It would make you think it would change.
Yeah, they do keep up with,
Some
math,
of
I know
those, some of
that.
those proficiency percentages to stay in proficient, pretty narrow.
Yeah.
No,
And a
it's a
big
large,
jump.
it's a big jump to go for basic, like 32% or something.
Yeah.
which is
And-
what's shown
And
right
then to stay in proficient would be like 11%.
Yeah, cause
Yeah.
their big thing is, it should mirror, so if
Get that.
whatever your students score
That's-
here,
That's the draw of,
they should then score in that same category on math,
yes,
so,
which sometimes it
I don't know.
does and
Sometimes
sometimes
they do.
yeah.
They're working on trying to bring that together.
that's
Yeah.
difficult to.
Big conversation with them 2 years ago on that.
Mhm.
I wasn't seeing the alignment.
Gonna be really curious
That's
this
hard.
year,
Yeah.
Yeah.
how
Okay,
this
you
year
can go
works
back
out.
to you.
Yeah.
Where you
Okay.
were. I was
Yeah,
just,
we can dig down and I'd be curious to do that.
One of the things
Okay,
we're gonna have to be
history.
monitoring here is on both the October and the November, we went down from the previous test. And so that's something we're going to have to continue to monitor as we go through the school year, because that's not something we want to see. But that could also be maybe there are a couple of kids who generally do well that maybe were gone that day. I didn't look that deep into that particular thing, but there could be an explanation, there may not be. And so when you're looking at a very small class size, it wouldn't take, very many kids to.
Honestly, I
It-
stopped by.
It is skewed.
Yeah.
It really skews it. I stopped by Mrs. Lot, well, I was walking by there,
Yeah.
Mrs. Lot was frustrated one day looking at this data, and she said, this doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. What those kids are doing in there is so good, they have to be growing. And I said, well, hold on. What's the percentage of kids that took it today? Who was absent? And she went, he was gone. And they got a new student. And I went, boom, there it is. So one of their really high achieving students was absent and didn't retake it, and they had a new student, and boom, a big shift. And it made it look like for the teacher, something went wrong. Well, you gotta dig down. When you have a small number of kids, it really makes it.
Let's see.
One or two things.
I will tell you that in our math, we're having to do a lot of remediation. I mean, there's a lot of things we're having to slow down and do. Just gaps that our kids have, so in the October data, about the same, a percent down compared to last year. The November one, now keep in mind, some of those standards they're covered at different times of the year. So they may have been covered between August and October, that may not have been, by the same thing with September and November, with the math. But what's encouraging, there you see the November going from 17% to 25% there compared to last year. So, and then, so a little bit higher, than we were last year, but doing a lot of remediation, in our math. We recognize that's low across the board, and will continue to be a work in progress. Let's see, 8th grade. We don't want to see that much red, but that's where we are right now. So again, a lot of room for growth. I know we've got a really good teacher in our middle school math, and she'll beat herself up looking at this. But she's working really hard to get those kids what they need to try to get them caught back up. She's really good at what she does. She really is.
Oh,
Algebra 1, you know, similar story, although you'll see a little bit of growth there from each of the 2 tests. But we'd still like to get out of the red. So kind of this year and beyond, you know, what have we done? So, you know, my focus coming in is just to get to know the teacher. So, you know, build those relationships with our staff. You know, Todd Whitaker's one of my, you know, favorite authors, but, you know, he's about, you know, build relationships where you need relationships. But we got really good people in the classroom, and I know when I talk to parents on the phone, they're really appreciative of their kids' teachers, and they say their kids really like their teachers. But working on the relationships, but also just learning what's going on. Like, what are our systems in place? What are our strengths? What are our weaknesses? What are some opportunities for growth? So a lot of times growth doesn't happen in a microwave, it happens in a crock pot. And that's not just to,
Who said it?
See, now that's a clever saying.
Where'd you get that? Where'd you get
well,
that?
it is a Dave Ramsey thing.
So you didn't come up with that.
Investing is a crock pot, not a microwave. So, but I apply it, but it's the same thing is true, you know, this too. It's not gonna happen. Yeah, it's, but,
he does live by crock pots.
I like to say there's more than one way to skin a cat. And I will say, you know, we've each had different experiences where we come from. And my experience has been kind of get a feel for what's working and start to plant some seeds. And I've got that, you know, mentioned on there too, where, you know, teachers are starting to borrow some of the books that I have because we'll have conversations, they'll get interested in a topic or a strategy, and I've got a book for it, you know. And so planting those seeds. And then once you get a feel for things, you can start to put your foot on the gas a little bit. Every situation's different, every personality, everybody's different, but that's been the success that I've had is, you know, kind of getting a feel for things, and then now let's move. But it's, I think the teachers got to learn, they got to get to know me and to trust me and know where I'm coming from. And I'm not just, you know, everybody's just different. And I know I have to be careful about how I come across, just the way I'm wired and my personality. So I try to be conscious of that. We, you know, worked on establishing student expectations. I mean, that's whether it's, you know, we're not roaming the halls, we're staying in the classrooms, we're our cell phones and all that. So we've really tried to, you know, establish some new norms, you know, for our students and what we expect of them. So that's been a focus. Introducing different research things. We mentioned the John Hattie Visible Learning research, mentioned some of the research that we shared today, but introducing some of those things to our staff so we can use some more impactful strategies in the classroom. Planting those seeds, you know, just through various conversations and incentivizing student growth. We talk about the collaboration. I know Ms. Kingsley talked about the collaboration earlier. That collaboration could be elementary and high school or junior high teachers working together, doing that collaboration. And there's been some, we could do more, but there's been some. Incentivizing student growth has been a collaborative effort. We have a student recognition committee, and that kind of branched off into the evaluate teachers on our campus. Let's talk about how we can incentivize student growth, that sort of thing, because we do want kids growing. It's not just about getting proficient, but that's nice, but we want you growing. And we want everybody to realize they can grow no matter where they're at. They could be here and they can grow, and they can be here and they can grow. And so we want to, you know, incentivize that. Where we're going, I think just getting deeper into the effective teaching strategies, the research-based ones. And we've had the writing people here on campus. They're about to leave, but what can we do as we continue without them to increase our writing expectations? Not just the expectations we have on the students, but as teachers, the expectations that we have for our instruction, what we expect of kids with their writing. Continuing the conversations with the elementary, I think is going to be important as we align our standards and align our curriculum. We can definitely move deeper into how we're utilizing this data, because we've got this data, you know, with Evaluate, but just improving how we use that to make instructional decisions. Going to continue, and it's going to be an ongoing thing, but just evaluating our standards, our curriculum, our resources, and our practices. And then we've got to, on the math side, because we saw a lot of red in the math. we've got to dig deeper into those gaps our kids have in our math. But that's gonna take some time. We've got that much red, there's a lot of work ahead. So we're gonna have to dig deeper into that as well. But thankfully, we're collecting some data that allows us to dig into it. And I will tell you, and not every school collects data, but I'm glad we do, because it can be an effective tool for us.
I don't know if it's working.
And that's it.
Easy.
Well, I'll just say, I think both of you have realized where you're at, where we need to go, and the work you got ahead of you. And I think that's the biggest thing, is we can't fix the issue until you know you have the issue. You know, like putting things in progress to hopefully keep moving that forward. So, I mean, if you don't recognize an issue, you're never gonna fix an issue. I see we've got people here that recognize things that need to be addressed, taken on, and improved, so.
And I think we can probably speak for all of us, is we've all been here before in other stops in our educational journey. And we've experienced growth where we've been. And so it's nothing that none of us have been through before. And I think as we have conversations with our teachers too, and we can draw on those experiences, not that, hey, I used to do this here, so it's automatically better, but I've been here and I've seen growth happen. And here's what worked for us. Some of it may be the same, some of it may be a little bit different. That's listening to the data, and our kids are different and our teachers are a little bit different. And I think that's a benefit to us too. We've been here before.
Yes,
It's possible.
Experience always helps.
I hope so.
And that it's
Absolutely.
I think
possible.
that's a tremendous
You
benefit.
know, whatever it is, then it is possible to grow, and we can do this. Yeah.
Usually.
Thank you for the work you guys are doing, and, you know, continue to keep us updated, you know.
Any questions for Mr. Dunn on his presentations? And again, it's hard to put those numbers up there. I understand completely. Been there, done that.
We'll make excuses. We'll just get to work.
That's what I like.
That's, I haven't heard any
For
For
excuses.
you,
I've
it's
just heard-
easy, because I'm gonna say, it's
Well-
not anything you've done.
We know our
Come in.
kids are capable of so much more. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's just
You know, and
hold them to
you know
that
It just comes
accountability,
down to how,
expectations.
working together,
Give them tools.
working together.
Tools and awareness, expectations.
Appreciate that. The
Plans
work
down
and
off.
dedication and time it takes, like you said, quite a bit of time. More than you wanted to.
We did have help.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
getting the data, but
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you knew that. Everybody knows that.
it did take time.
That's okay.
We had help.
All right, any questions at all? Okay. Move on to our next action item, which is to approve the elementary reading materials purchase. This is something Mrs. Skinley talked about last month, just a little bit. She just hadn't nailed it all the way down as far as cost and exactly what we were looking at. Who wants to discuss that a little bit more? And we had it in our Friday update.
I think Doug must have turned my computer off while I was turning around. Break my computer. I got nothing here. But you want to talk a little bit about the grade
Just
levels,
leave
where we
minute.
are? I can or you can.
Quick.
All right, she's got a little over $21,000 to go ahead. They've purchased the Wonders program in 3 grade levels and would like to get it in the other 3, and we were going to push that off to next year. We have this carryover in Title I. It does create that cohesiveness among that program. It is a standards-based or a research-based program, and so they're finding some success. Her teachers are excited about having it, and so if we could get it in their hands now, maybe we could grow sooner, especially while we have TNTP here with our lower grades who are in the classrooms constantly working with those teachers and being those instructional coaches. So if we can make the purchase now, I think that would be better than waiting until next year. So we have the money to do it. Just would ask your approval for that.
Do it.
I
21.5, you know that's
Somewhere
always
in that
gonna be,
range.
yep, that's your ballpark of the quote that she got. I think that'll probably be right on,
Yeah.
but
right
you
on.
never know,
Yeah.
you know.
I'll make a motion, move ahead with that
That's
purchase.
3-year, that's a 3-year.
3 year, that's
Yeah.
for 3
and
years.
that's for three, that's
3 years
for 3
materials
years.
and a 3 grade.
Yeah.
3 grade
What
levels
they
in
need.
3 years.
Yeah.
It's not just an
First,
annual
second,
Yep.
third.
thing.
First, second, third.
It all depends on what they order and what they, it depends on what they order. So like some of the grade levels will have some other resources they want
I
to
know,
use.
isn't that
Where do
crazy?
you think they make the
Do you want
money?
to tell them specifically?
Could
Because
probably
I
cut
That's
to
a
the
good
internet.
question.
the difference in price with the third grade was a lot cheaper.
Oh, yeah, because the lower grades, like they have big books that go along with it. They have different materials for the
Prices,
centers.
decodables,
Yeah, the
It's almost double,
decodables.
yeah.
they
Things
just
like,
have
yeah,
more resources.
Yeah. The different types of resources.
I didn't know. I just, yeah.
That's a good question.
Why there was such a jump
Printed
in
materials.
price.
Yeah, it really
Yeah, and
depends on
then-
what you purchase
And
on
I
that.
did, I think I did didn't I upload the quotes in there to where?
They are all on
You
there.
did.
Yeah.
The itemized quotes are in there
You
too.
did.
Yeah, and the shipping is absolutely ridiculous.
Isn't it?
I know.
Well, if it's
can
all
negotiate.
printed material, that's.
You can
probably-
negotiate that.
Yeah, we're willing to purchase, but if you guys.
I don't know.
Well, all right.
You can
That's
negotiate
coming to my
anything,
country.
doesn't mean you're negotiating.
Didn't they have a class on how to do that? Is anybody gonna second my motion?
Second.
Motion by Birdsong to
Look like people look like.
Come on.
first, second, third grade reading materials, additional reading materials for approximately $21,500.
So 50,000 might be too much. But around 21.5.
21.5.
It's right out there.
Got it.
Seconded by Mr. Thompson. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries 6-0.
Know how to read.
That's the easiest 21.5 you'll ever get.
Yeah.
Exciting though. You thought you were gonna have to wait till next year. It's exciting.
It's very exciting
really
to
exciting.
get it going.
Yeah, the around that area. Now, I told her 50,000 was too much. So if she comes back at 45, she might okay it.
Well, hopefully, you can get started early on this.
Yes.
Because obviously, all that stuff's gonna go back. In 2 or 3 years, we hope to see those scores. These are the things we're putting in place to see
Climbing.
those scores keep climbing. Am I
Right.
on the right roller coaster here?
Right.
You gotta know how to read. You
And
always
this
gotta
is
know
one
how
of the
That's for darn
only
sure.
programs that is approved by DESI.
The DESI,
DESI
yeah,
has
DESI's been
approved
real
this
stringent.
program
to approve.
and the benchmark advanced program. Those are the
That's
only
right.
two. So
I put the eggs in the right basket.
it has all the components that is needed for meeting those DESI standards. So,
Well, we want, the board will make sure to give you tools to.
yeah.
If your teachers are bought in, like
Yeah.
before.
They're,
Right.
they're seeing it. They need it. Yeah.
Looking at next month, looks like February 20th. Start of the Thursday. Okay,
Yes, he's gonna be south of.
Driving that big fancy new truck down there.
so
I tell you what, that's
I
charging.
mean,
Go
on
back
my
to that
private
payday
jet.
and work.
Get it straight.
I know, I just saw it on my calendar and I was like,
I like that. truck.
You guys.
Old man blue.
It's pretty. I like it.
I had to go over to Pat Ryan.
And then that's money, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks pretty sharp.
She'll
kill
it.
She's
Yeah.
getting
Never
there.
bought.
yes, that was close enough. Just good.
It was
What'd
really
you buy?
hard. It was really hard.
Fuck.
She's gonna sleep for like 27.
Good, February 20th? Okay, need a motion to go into executive.
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Brookshire.
Yes.
One in executive, Mr. Brookshire, and second, Mr. Thompson. Correct?
Either way.
Yes.
We will do roll call.
Yes.
Yes, Tony.
Here,
Here.
Yeah, take a look, Doug.
I'm putting you in my calendar, Doug.
Good, we're all good. That's 6-0. Take a 5-minute break.